In the quiet opulence of Buckingham Palace, a place known for its grandeur and centuries of tradition, something entirely unexpected transpired, something that could change the very course of the British monarchy. Behind the gilded walls and guarded doors, Princess Anne, known for her practicality and sharp insight, dropped a bombshell that left the royal family reeling. It was during a rare, private family meeting, one where only those closest to the core of the monarchy were present, that Anne revealed the truth about a shocking prophecy left behind by Queen Elizabeth. "I've always known that Catherine was something special," Anne began, her voice steady, but laced with a certain quiet intensity. "But what I'm about to tell you will reshape everything you think you know about the future of our family." It wasn't just William who the Queen saw as the future of the monarchy. It was Catherine. She was always the one meant to carry us forward. Her words hung in the air like a dense fog. Anne, usually composed, had just shattered the long-standing image of the royal family's expected line of succession. Prince William, long considered the next in line to the throne, was suddenly cast into doubt. Catherine, his wife, had always been admired as a poised and graceful figure, but now, it seemed she was destined for much more than simply standing beside her husband. Anne's statement left everyone in the room stunned. Could it really be true? Had the Queen, in her final days, truly believed that the monarchy's future lay not just in William's hands, but in Catherine's? For a family built on centuries of tradition, where every movement was calculated, and every word weighed, this revelation threatened to upend everything. The air in the room grew thick with tension, and Anne's next words seemed to seal the deal. "The Queen knew this long before any of us. And she left us a letter, a final message. One that you will only understand now." It was Catherine, not William, who was to carry the torch. It was a claim so profound, so laden with consequence, that it sent shockwaves through the room. For years, everyone had operated under the assumption that William would take the throne. Yet Anne's words suggested that Catherine was the true heir to the throne, not as a mere consort, but as the reigning queen. Catherine was not to be a passive figurehead. She was to be the embodiment of the future of the British monarchy. At first, the gravity of Anne's revelation was difficult to grasp. After all, Catherine had always been viewed as a supportive partner to William, a future queen consort. But now, Anne was implying that Catherine was destined to rule in her own right, perhaps even as the power behind the throne, or, in time, the Queen herself. The room fell silent, as everyone processed this monumental shift in royal destiny. "Before she passed, the Queen wrote to us all," Anne continued, her gaze unwavering. "In that letter, she made it clear. Catherine had what it took, what no one else in our family had. And as hard as it might be for some to accept, the monarchy's future depends on her. Not William. Catherine." The revelation hit like a storm, and the room seemed to hold its breath. How could this be? For centuries, the British monarchy had been a bastion of tradition. The crown passed from father to son, from monarch to heir, and yet here was the suggestion that the monarchy's true leader was not the firstborn son, but the daughter-in-law. It was almost too much to comprehend. And yet, in the months that followed, it became clear that Anne was speaking the truth. The Queen's final letter, which had been locked away in the royal vaults, contained her heartfelt plea for the monarchy to embrace change. Queen Elizabeth, ever the stalwart defender of tradition, had come to understand something that no one else in the royal family had yet grasped. The monarchy was no longer just a symbol of the past. It had to evolve in order to survive in the 21st century. Catherine, with her deep understanding of the public and her grace under pressure, had become the answer. But if this was the Queen's final wish, what did it mean for Prince William? His entire life had been dedicated to preparing for the throne. He had been groomed from birth to take on the mantle of king, and for all his life, he had assumed that when the time came, the throne would be his by right. Was that no longer true? Was Catherine the true heir, the one to ascend to the throne and take up the mantle of monarch? William, usually so confident and composed, began to question everything he thought he knew about his future. For his part, William tried to maintain his composure. On the surface, he supported his wife. He had always admired her, and he had always known she was destined for greatness. But in the depths of his heart, he began to wrestle with a haunting question: was he merely the bridge to the future, the necessary figurehead to bring Catherine into power? Was his destiny to remain second to his wife, forever the shadow behind her, as the world turned its gaze upon her? But it wasn't just William who was affected by this shift in the monarchy's future. Queen Camilla, too, felt the weight of the Queen's final wishes. Having fought her entire life to be accepted and embraced by the British public, Camilla had finally achieved her position as Queen Consort. Her rise had been slow and steady, her every move scrutinized, but she had finally earned her place beside her husband, King Charles. Yet now, with the news that Catherine had been chosen as the true leader of the monarchy, Camilla was forced to confront a hard truth. Was she, too, destined to be a mere footnote in history, remembered only for her support of Charles, or would Catherine be the one to truly carry the crown? Behind closed doors, tensions within the royal family escalated. Family members who had once been united in their loyalty to the throne now found themselves questioning their roles. Prince Harry, though removed from the direct line of succession, began to privately comment that the monarchy needed to adapt to survive, and he had always believed Catherine had the strength to carry the burden. But with his own personal ties to the family fraying, Harry's comments only added fuel to the fire. Was the monarchy headed for a change that even Harry could not predict? As the royal family struggled with these seismic revelations, the public response was one of shock and awe. News outlets around the world speculated about what this meant for the future of the monarchy. Many wondered whether Catherine was prepared to step into a role that was, in many ways, unprecedented. It wasn't just about supporting William anymore. It was about leading the nation. And as whispers of Catherine's future role spread through the British public, some began to question whether the monarchy, as it had existed for centuries, could truly survive in its current form. The media seized on the story with ravenous fervor. Headlines screamed, "Catherine, the Queen's chosen successor," and "Royal family in crisis as Catherine's destiny is revealed." Everyone seemed to have an opinion on the matter, and the debate grew fiercer by the day. But perhaps the most intriguing question remained unspoken: what would Catherine herself think of this revelation? Would she accept the mantle of power thrust upon her by the late Queen? Or would she, despite her grace and strength, decide that the weight of the monarchy was too great a burden for one person to bear? Could the British monarchy truly change in such a profound way? Or was this all just a dream, an illusion in the minds of those hoping for a more progressive future? And then, in a quiet corner of Buckingham Palace, Catherine herself sat down to write a letter that she knew would eventually be made public. In it, she carefully addressed the future of the monarchy. "I am honored by the trust that has been placed in me by the Queen," she wrote, her words measured and sincere. "But the future of this family and this nation is not mine to shape alone. It is a responsibility we all carry together." In this letter, Catherine not only affirmed her dedication to the monarchy, but also made it clear that she understood the weight of her role. The future of the monarchy, she concluded, could only be secured through unity within the family, and unity with the people. It was a bold statement, one that confirmed her deep understanding of her place in history, and the challenges she would face. And so, with the Queen's letter as a guiding light, and the future of the monarchy resting squarely on her shoulders, Catherine prepared to step into a new chapter, one that would not only change the royal family, but could change the entire course of British history.